It's not the breakup that breaks her, it's the quiet second she realizes you stopped trying. That's when it hits her. Not when you walk out. Not when she blocks you. But when she feels that sudden emptiness where your energy used to be. That calm silence, that complete absence of reaction. It unsettles her in ways anger never could. Because she expected chaos. She expected to see you chase, plead, explain, and beg her to stay. But instead you gave her nothing. No text. No fight. No validation. Just silence. And that's what haunts her. Most men crumble under that emotional weight. They try to talk their way back into her good graces, thinking logic or affection will change her mind. But what she doesn't forget are the men who stayed calm when everything was burning. The ones who didn't compete for closure. The ones who didn't need to prove their worth. That kind of detachment isn't weakness. It's quiet power. It's the moment she realizes she can't control you anymore. Because control dies in silence. When you stop explaining, she loses her ability to manipulate the narrative. When you stop reacting, her games stop working. She'll start overanalyzing everything you didn't say. She'll replay your last words in her head. She'll wonder why you didn't argue, why you didn't try to fix it, why you suddenly feel unreachable. That's when the regret begins to grow. Not because she lost you in a fight, but because she lost your presence without warning. That calm withdrawal flips the entire dynamic. You're no longer the one trying to prove your value. She's the one realizing she lost someone who gave her peace, not pressure. You see, silence makes space for reflection. And in that space she starts to see herself clearly, maybe for the first time. She begins to question her choices. She starts asking herself whether she pushed too far, whether she mistook your patience for weakness, whether she tested a man who never needed her validation in the first place. That's the kind of realization that cuts deep. Because now she can't fix it with a text. She can't patch it up with a cute message. She can't reach you the same way anymore. You've detached, not out of hate, but out of self-respect. That's what makes the silence sting. It's not emotional revenge. It's emotional maturity. You're not reacting to hurt her. You're protecting your peace. You're done explaining yourself to someone who already knew your worth and still gambled with it. That calm detachment, that grounded stillness, says more than any long paragraph ever could. It says you've accepted the loss, processed it, and moved on without resentment. And that's the moment her control collapses. Because nothing is more powerful than a man who's learned that walking away without a word speaks louder than begging someone to stay. Spotting when you're being kept on the sidelines isn't guesswork. Pay attention to rhythms, small habits that repeat. She'll alternate warmth with distance like a metronome set to keep you tuned but never rooted. 1 hour she's affectionate, the next she's unavailable. That flip isn't confusion, it's control. She treats your time like a convenience store, open when she wants change, closed when she needs commitment. Calls get postponed but messages roll through at odd hours. That's not interest in you as a person, it's interest in the attention you give. If she wants companionship without risk, texts suffice. If she wanted partnership, she'd clear space in her schedule. Watch language. Vagueness is her tool. Not ready, let's not rush, we'll see. These phrases are soft ways of saying I'm undecided. Those lines create a gray area where she can take without promising. When clarity is resisted, your requests for a direction become inconveniences to dodge. Don't mistake avoidance for mystery. It's avoidance. The breadcrumb routine is subtle but revealing. Small displays of feeling appear when they serve her needs. A compliment after a night out, a digital miss you on a lonely evening, a single emoji that reads like a test. Then silence. The emotional leash retracts. You respond, hoping repetition will form a pattern of certainty. It doesn't. It trains her to expect your return, to manage you from a distance. Notice the energy she seeks. If she craves excitement but avoids depth, it's a sign she prefers the chase to the hold. She'll invite flirtation, late-night banter, moments that spike adrenaline, but she won't sign up for shared plans or future thinking. That bifurcation is deliberate. You're allowed to be thrilling, not permanent. Boundaries you don't enforce become permissions she'll exploit. If you accept inconsistent behavior without consequence, you're giving a green light to continue. Consistency in your responses teaches her limits. If you stop matching unpredictability with supply, the leash shortens. Do not compensate for her inconsistency by amplifying your availability. Her social life will be curated to keep options alive. You might see compartmentalized interactions. Friends who know one version of her, colleagues who know another, you who see a version that fits comfortable distance. That fractured approach protects her from accountability. It keeps her choices flexible. Emotional investment is transactional when it's one-sided. When your feelings aren't reciprocated at equal intensity, the relationship is unbalanced. If she invests intermittently, she's hedging. Hedging is protection against commitment. Recognize it and respond accordingly. Actions speak while words negotiate. She can promise and still place limits with behavior. Take behavioral cues over verbal assurances. If her calendar, her texts, and her actions don't align with your needs, they're not a temporary glitch. They're the blueprint she's designed. When you accept being an option, you cheapen your own presence. The antidote is clarity and calm in follow-through. Don't plead for how you want to be treated. Demonstrate it by adjusting your rhythm. That's how you stop being background noise and start being someone whose absence echoes. Listen, availability is not a virtue when it costs you value. When you answer every ping, you teach a woman your life bends around her schedule. Predictability becomes a leash. If your presence is automatic, it becomes background noise. Attraction needs a little distance. It needs curiosity. When you're always there, mystery evaporates. You become easy to map, easy to predict, easy to take. Desire lives on edges, not on demand. Too many guys confuse attention with respect. They flood her with calls and explanations hoping to prove worth. That rarely works. Overavailability signals need. Need destroys desirability. The fastest way to reframe how she sees you is to make your time scarce and your responses deliberate. Boundaries are not coldness. They're signals. They tell a woman what you accept and what you won't tolerate. When you hold standards and act on them, she either adjusts or reveals her priorities. One teaches commitment, the other exposes intention. Consistency in your standards creates magnetic tension. If you fluctuate, warm one day, needy the next, you hand her control of the emotional tempo. If you keep the same rules every time, she has to adapt or step aside. That forces clarity quicker than endless negotiation. Don't confuse calm with indifference. Calm is composed choice. Indifference is reactionless apathy. Choose to be composed. Answer when you want it, not because your phone buzzed. Let your timing reflect your life, not her drama. Stop trading meaning for availability. A man who shows up rarely but with substance is remembered. A man who shows up constantly with little to say is forgotten. Quality beats quantity. Make interactions count. Make your interactions intentional. Send messages with purpose. Invite only when you actually want to see her. Keep plans that matter. Cancel what doesn't. The energy you protect multiplies into respect. If she punishes distance with games, that's her problem. Don't rush to fix her insecurity with more supply. If she's measuring you by how fast you fold, let her see you don't fold fast. Confidence is steady, not frantic. You reclaim agency by aligning actions with values. Stop improvising responses to her mood swings. React from principle. If punctuality matters to you, don't accept chronic lateness. If honesty matters, call out evasions. Your behavior becomes the standard you expect. When you withdraw availability, you force a decision point. She either comes forward or she drifts. Either result is progress. Lingering in ambiguity is the slow leak that drains you. Creating a boundary is a controlled action that either opens a real connection or closes a distraction. Remember, scarcity isn't manipulation when it reflects real priorities. It's a reflection of self-respect. Use it to protect the life you're building. Let presence be earned. Then watch how quickly respect follows. You'll notice you breathe easier. Your days feel fuller. You'll attract people who actually fit your schedule and values. That's not casualty, that's selection. Hold that standard. Protect your time. Build a life that's not on standby for someone else and keep moving forward. This is a moment for quiet control, not loud revenge. You don't prove strength by escalating drama. You show it by staying composed and refusing the urge to react. Cool heads create winners. Hasty responses hand the game back to her. Shrink your emotional footprint. Answer when it fits your life, not on her timetable. Make timing reflect your priorities. Let your day dictate your replies. When you protect your time, you protect your value. Don't fill gaps with messages. Empty space becomes a test, not a void to be patched. Resist the urge to narrate your feelings to anyone who treats consistency like an optional extra. Keep your words scarce and meaningful. Fewer sentences, more weight. Hold conversations to purpose. Text should move things forward. Plan a meeting, confirm a boundary, share a fact, not chase validation. If a message doesn't serve a real outcome, don't send it. Clarity beats clutter every time. Keep your tone measured. There's a way to be direct without attacking. There's power in calm language. Let your speech be steady and unsensational. No drama. No hysterics. Just clear intent. That steadiness rewires how people interact with you. Withdraw from performative exchanges. Avoid long back and forths that exist only to soothe insecurity. Meaningful engagement requires energy. Don't distribute it to behaviors that don't match intent. Save your presence for people who invest in return. If she tries to bait you into over-explaining, refuse politely. A short, honest line that reflects your expectation is enough. You don't owe a museum of justifications. You owe authenticity and boundaries. That keeps you honest and prevents manipulation. Surround yourself with routines that reinforce your peace. Work on projects, hang with friends, train, read, do things that widen your world. The fuller your life, the less any single person can unsettle your stability. It's a practical buffer against emotional chaos. Remember, confidence doesn't require proof. When you walk steady through uncertainty, people either step up or step back. Both are useful. One reveals loyalty, the other reveals mismatch. Neither outcome threatens your trajectory. Accept discomfort. She may test your limits. She may lean into confusion to draw you out. Let her stew in the uncertainty you created by not feeding the performance. That discomfort forces a decision she couldn't postpone forever. Be generous with respect, stingy with access. Treat people well, but don't make your presence cheap. Respect should not be a currency you overpay. Keep entry to your inner world intentional. When contact resumes, evaluate the reason. Is she reaching out to soothe guilt or to rebuild a healthy pattern? Don't confuse return with repair. Look for sustained changes, not single dramatic efforts. Finally, practice walking away without resentment. Leave space for your life to continue growing. Freedom isn't a reaction, it's a daily practice. The calm you cultivate becomes a magnet for what truly fits, and a filter for what was only ever testing a rope. Choose presence that aligns with your standards. Keep moving forward, not backtracking for temporary relief. Stay steady. Guard peace daily. When you decide you're done with games, one clear message ends the guessing and hands the ball back. Keep it short. Keep it calm. Say exactly what you mean without decoration. Don't beg for answers. Don't apologize for your standards. State them plainly like a fact. That stops negotiation because it removes drama. Choose words that reflect your priorities. Use language that emphasizes what you want, not what she lacks. Frame it as a boundary, not a threat. Make it about values, not punishment. Deliver it in a neutral tone, as if you're talking about plans for the weekend. Factual, unemotional, finalized. That tone is impossible to argue with because it contains no bait. Timing matters. Don't send it when you're heated. Don't send it to punish. Send it when you're mentally composed and able to follow through. If your life supports the message becomes credible. If you can't act on what you say, it becomes hollow. So align your words with reality. Use plain constructions. A brief sentence or two does more than a paragraph. Long explanations give her room to debate and dissect. One or two lines close conversation and create space. Resist the urge to add context that invites rebuttal. If she asks for clarification later, consider whether a conversation would be constructive or merely an opening for more games. Keep punctuation minimal. No exclamation points. No ellipses. That keeps the tone neutral. Avoid emojis entirely. They soften firmness and read like emotional hedging. Your credibility is in the restraint, not the flourish. Prepare for 3 likely reactions. She might disappear without comment. She might challenge you with drama. Or she might show up differently. None of these outcomes invalidate your decision. They reveal what was true all along. Don't treat any reaction as proof you were wrong. Treat it as information. If she responds defensively, don't get pulled into debate. Reiterate the boundary succinctly once and then stick to it. You don't need to lecture or plead. If she tries manipulation through guilt or sob stories, recognize that reopening the door is optional. Your obligation is to your peace, not her drama. If she comes back with consistent change, ask for consistency, not excuses. Words mean little without enduring behavior. Set a simple test. Show up for one meaningful plan, follow through for a week, keep communication reliable. Trust actions over promises. If she passes the test, consider gradual reintegration. If she fails, let silence do the work you already started. Practice the follow-through. Block the temptation to over-explain. If you said you value clarity, live it by living your life that way. Don't monitor her socials obsessively. Don't respond to staged attempts at attention. Keep building the life that made the message necessary. Finally, remember the point. This message isn't a weapon. It's a line in the sand. It's a method for protecting your time and heart. When you communicate calmly and then honor that communication, you do 2 things. You give her a choice and you reclaim your life. That's when. Outcomes happen fast once you stop fueling uncertainty. People respond to absence in honest ways. Some will evaporate without a trace. Others will return looking different, awkward, apologetic, or suddenly earnest. A few will actually step up and start behaving like the person you expected them to be. Each result tells a clear story about who they were in the first place and what role they were willing to play in your life. If she pulls away for good, don't mourn theatrically. That retreat clarifies your reality. It saves you months of emotional investment that would have been wasted. The relief you feel is proof you freed space for someone whose presence won't require constant proving. Celebrate that room to breathe and grow. When someone comes back with loud remorse, watch the pattern before you accept it. Words look good under pressure, but habits reveal truth over time. Short-lived intensity often masks performative effort. Demand sustained demonstration rather than emergency promises. One dramatic pivot doesn't reset months of inconsistency. If she returns with steady change, reward it selectively. Reintroduce contact slowly. Test the new pattern with real situations that require reliability. Observe punctuality, follow-through, and willingness to be candid. If behavior matches claims, you can consider rebuilding cautiously. Trust must be earned. Don't shortcut the process to soothe nostalgia. The big win is that whatever she does, you learn quickly who was temporary. That knowledge saves energy. The people who cause chaos without accountability are filtered out. The ones who actually care align their conduct with the life you're building. You're not removing possibilities at random, you're selecting for compatibility. Don't confuse return with reconciliation. Reappearance may be about ego, convenience, or boredom. Reconciliation is measured by tangible adjustments and continued respect for your boundaries. If the return is self-serving, treat it like a trial run, not a restart. Demand consistency for any second chance. Use this moment to evaluate your standards. Are you lowering them to avoid solitude? Or are you maintaining them to preserve dignity? Your response defines future dynamics. Choose habits that reinforce what you value instead of what temporarily soothes you. Pay attention to context. Timing, circumstances, and triggers behind a return matter. Did she reach out because something shifted in her life or because she saw you thriving? Motivation affects the quality of the restart. Motives rooted in genuine growth look different from motives born of missing convenience. When you succeed at detaching, you don't just get answers about others, you get clarity about yourself. You discover how much patience you actually have, what behaviors you won't tolerate, and which relationships add real value. That self-knowledge is a tool for healthier choices going forward. Lastly, hold your peace as the real metric. Outcomes will vary, and none should destabilize your center. Whether she leaves, comes back, or changes, your aim remains the same. Preserve dignity, prioritize consistency, and build a life where presence is reciprocal. Let the results inform your path, not exhaust it. Keep moving forward, your life deserves better company. Final clarity comes when you stop proving and start living on your own terms. You stop explaining. You stop negotiating for someone else's attention. You set a standard and you move with it. That standard becomes the force that organizes your days and filters your people. Let consequences follow words instead of hoping words will change actions. If you say you value respect, behave like you expect it. If you say you need honesty, don't tolerate excuses. Say what you mean, then act in alignment. That is the only practical way to rebuild trust with anyone who returns. Recognize the difference between closure and continuation. Closure is a clean break that frees you. Continuation is a restart that demands proof. If someone wants a restart, make the terms clear and measurable. Don't re-enter cycles without seeing tangible shifts in behavior. Memories don't replace accountability. Hold your dignity as non-negotiable. Your internal code is more persuasive than a list of demands. Live by it. People adjust faster to lived standards than to lectures. When you operate from conviction instead of reaction, you become the kind of person others must respect to remain present. Let silence serve as a test, not a trap. Use it to observe character beyond convenient moments. Patterns reveal what words conceal. Watch how someone behaves when there's nothing to gain and everything to lose. That reveals true priorities. Invest energy where returns are realistic. Relationships require reciprocity. If you're always the one initiating repair, you're subsidizing inconsistency. Redirect that energy toward projects, friendships, and routines that compound returns over time. That's how value grows. If reconciliation is possible, prefer incremental reintegration over instant revival. Small, sustained improvements beat dramatic apologies. Create short trials that require dependability and presence. Use those trials to gauge whether change is durable or performative. When someone proves worthy of trust, don't rush to forget what happened. Forgiveness can coexist with safeguards. Keep records in the form of expectations rather than grudges. Let experience guide future openness, not naive optimism. Celebrate the lessons that came from distance. You learn your limits, your non-negotiables, and your capacity to let go. Those lessons are tools for future choices. They sharpen your judgment and simplify decisions that used to feel complicated. Refuse to shrink for anyone's comfort. Your life should not orbit another person's indecision. Stand upright in your plans and passions. People who appreciate that will align themselves with you naturally. Those who don't will drift away and reveal themselves early. Practice patience with yourself during this process. Changing response patterns is uncomfortable, and old instincts will pull you back toward familiar faults. When temptation to revert appears, remind yourself of the clarity you're building. Persist. Finally, remember the end goal. A life where presence is voluntary and mutual. That's not a threat to others. It's an invitation to match the standards you uphold. Keep that boundary clear, and watch how quickly your world reshapes around people who truly belong. Stand firm, prioritize growth, and refuse anything that erodes the dignity you have built daily. Subscribe for more insights on masculine power, emotional control, and mastering silence, because the man who learns calm wins every time.